Imagine a world where every choice you make is certainly guided by an invisible code, a numerical blueprint that maps out your destiny. I have been often curious to know why a lot of my friends have an extra A or an extra S in their names, or some of my friends going bonkers in finding a particular series of phone number or a car number, or the sum should add up to a particular digit. And at the same time, we have also heard rumors about dark side of the occult or its impact on the individual's life. Today, we are going to dive deep into some of the mysteries of this enigmatic world, which is filled with a plethora of modalities for the betterment of human life. Welcome to We Are Listening, the podcast where we bridge the gaps between wellness seekers and wellness providers. Today, we are exploring the fascinating realms of metaphysical sciences and personal transformations with Dr. Suresh Devnani, a renowned metaphysical scientist and a transformation healer. Dr. Devnani, known as the Happy Doctor, combines ancient wisdom with modern science to unlock the secrets of numerology and Vastusastra. Dr. Devnani, it's an honor to have you here.
Thank you, Pulkit. It's amazing to be here on the show, and I've seen some of your past videos. It's phenomenal that good work that you're putting in. Well-being definitely is important in today's world, especially in India, as I see stress levels have gone to madness. The traffic jams and the dealings you have to deal with every day with people, at banks. And it's nobody's fault. It's just stress that is being add on. So somebody who comes stressful to work from home is passing that stress on to the people they're dealing with. And the best place to de-stress is actually home or when we are leaving work. Because otherwise, again, that stress goes back home. Again, you get angry at your family members. And that only creates more poor relationships. So,
That's
I feel we have to teach people the basic skill of letting go before they go back to the next environment.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you on this. I have seen and I've myself also been in positions where I've often brought my work stress to home. And over last 2 years, I've started taking conscious decisions where I leave my stress at work and go home with a new, completely different mindset to spend time with the family members. And I totally agree with you that either giving benefit of doubt, that's my life philosophy now. Any person I'm dealing with, any person I'm meeting, I do give them a benefit of doubt. And letting go is something I'm still evolving on. I have to work a lot on that. But I totally agree with you that letting go is one of the most important, crucial factors a human needs to learn.
I was just recently reading a document. They say man was meant to handle stress. But now suddenly, in the last 100 years, stress has just increased to the levels where man can't handle that. So it's just letting go of some of the stress. I'm not saying de-stress yourself, then life will become boring, but just lessening your stress. And sometimes, for some people who are religious, saying leave it on God, it works for me. I hope, leave it on something else. Leave it on nature, leave it on the natural forces of good, and somehow that will calm that stress down. Or find ways to compartmentalize the stress, see this is good stress, this is medium stress, this is bad stress, and then realize which one should I remove from my life. And of course, meditation, reflection, being in nature, walking barefoot in grass, or laughter yoga, all these are great ideas in the morning. And whatever we do in the morning will last us through the day.
Yeah.
I believe in that strong, thing. And we always have time. A lot of people come to me saying, oh, my days are too long. I said, why don't you start a little earlier? Then your day will be extra long. Why not? Wake up at 4:30, 5:30, whatever time that works. I know it might sound difficult, even in the cold months Delhi is facing right now. But the thing is, we have to create these habits, and these are good habits. I'm not trying to tell you to take up smoking or doing bad things to yourself. I'm saying go and take a good habit. Half an hour in the morning prior to your shower and taking your phones, because a lot of people, what happens, the first thing they wake up, they look at their mobile phone. And that's one of the worst things you can do to yourself. The minute you wake up, you will see all these messages from different people, stressing you out. Why let go of all those things? Stress yourself after a nice cup of tea, reflecting and saying today is going to be a beautiful day. Then those difficult things will seem so much easier on your phone when you're going to look at it later. People first thing in the morning, I've seen this person sleeping next to me. My wife loves doing this. At 5 o'clock, she'll wake up, message, and she needs to reply that right away. Otherwise, she feels her day is going to be longer. I for now, for myself, I've decided one thing. Even though the phone sits next to me, it's on silent. Until I have not done my meditation, I do not look at my phone. I know, life can continue with or without me. I'm not the sole person that takes care of the world's problems. Problems come as needed. We can handle them as needed.
I totally agree. I so totally agree with you, Dr. Suresh, over this. 2 years back, if I rewind my life, I had the same excuses that I don't have time. My life used to be like leaving home at 7 a.m. in the morning because I wanted to avoid the regular traffic, which if I'm leaving at 8:30 or 9, would increase my travel time to 2 hours instead of
Wow.
45 minutes.
Okay,
So I
that's
would leave by 7 and probably coming back home after 9 p.m. So leaving from office after 9 p.m. I was spending 12 hours in the office, out of which I don't think so I was productive for more than 5 hours. Rest was just getting wasted. Now, the moment I shifted back to my home, opened my office closer to my place, I have surprisingly a good amount of time, which now I've started spending on betterment of my own health. I'm still to evolve, I'm still to learn it, but yes, except the last 2 weeks of the winter, these chilly winters, I wake up at 4:30. Now I don't have that excuse that I don't have time. I either go for walk, I practice basic stretching exercises that I need to do, and a little bit of meditation. So now I'm reaching out to a guru to help me learn meditation as well and planning to inculcate it in my life. I tried doing something from YouTube videos, found a little bit of deterrent coming in, not understanding few things. So now I'm searching for a guru to help me understand the art of meditation and probably talking to few people and would be starting soon. And another thing I've started doing, what you just mentioned, is I've stopped consciously taking my phone to the bathroom with me. A lot of
oh,
people
okay,
do
good.
this.
Important, very important.
So, one thing that I've observed an immediate effect is the strain on my eyes, let alone my mental health or the stress and everything. I've started observing my eyes are less tired now every day, because the first 1 hour I've stopped looking to my mobile at my mobile. I just use it for alarm clock. So the moment I turn off my alarm clock, I will wake up, do my morning chores, get free and everything. After I've taken the bath, then I pick up the phone. Still, I'm yet to completely get into that cycle. But yes, 3 out of 7 days in a week, I'm able to do it now. And I'm planning to increase the number of days. And it has really helped me because earlier, as you rightly mentioned, the moment we see those messages on our phone, we get stressed. We start thinking what to revert. And if you are at a place where you're in a decision making capacity, either you're a startup founder, an entrepreneur, or in a senior position in a corporate, you start to think what to revert because we don't want to lose onto that client. We don't want to, miss a conversation or the chance to first revert to an argument. So we often just get into that hassle and forget about the more important things that we need to do every morning. That time for self, we miss out on that. So
What has worked for me, like as you said, we have to be clear of what defines us as us. And once we know that, we can even share these ideals to our clients. I tell my clients, I start my day so and so. I will recommend you to do the so and so. So the expectations also become so and so. So they will not send me a message at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning, I need your help. They'll understand that I also have my time, reflect, recharge my senses before I can help them.
yeah,
This is not a natural thing. Just not knowledge that it's acquired. It's more like it's channeled to me. So, we need this time. A couple of hours in the morning, especially right after sleep, are the most powerful moments of our life, which allow us to be creative, interactive with the creation itself, and it allows us to manifest great things. So, why not work on that? Then, dealing with little shallow problems. And what
Yeah.
works for me also is I manifest this before sleeping in the night. I say to myself, tomorrow's going to be an excellent day. No problem will come. So I can enjoy a longer, more dedicated meditation. And that helps. So even starting the night right before sleeping is always good so your morning can start.
Something practice that I started doing 4 years back, which really helped me was I have automated my phone, and now a feature comes in all the phones, I believe. I put a DND mode at 8:15 p.m. because, and this was came out of a few instances where some of the clients started ringing me at 10 in the night, 11 in the night. And like my sleep is the utmost important thing, part of those 24 hours I needed to function better the next day. I'm not gonna let any client or anyone else, unless it's not an emergency. Sorry, I need that sleeping time peacefully. So after 8:15 p.m., a lot of people ring me up and it directly goes to a missed call. And they're like, we were not able to reach you. I said, was it an emergency? They said, no. Then you're not about to, you're not required to reach out to me. So that's where I have started keeping that line. And I believe a lot of individuals need to start drawing that line. What are your thoughts?
Definitely. And what I would suggest to everyone, make it clear. Maybe when somebody does message you that time, there should be an auto message reply going on. I'm currently in my special time and I'll be unable to, reply you back so and so from this period. Be blunt, they should understand that you're a man of honor. Whenever you reply and you do, you'll be pure to that problem, not like, oh, just, randomly throwing things at them and then saying this is it. And what is good right now? Like I'm currently working on this special AI program where while I'm in that period, do not disturb, there will be a clone of me doing that work, if possible. So then
Oh,
nobody is actually left out, even at whatever hour, because I work with clients in all time zones. So for their morning could be my night and my night could be their morning. And I don't want to let them, away. They should also get as much of me as possible. And there's a friend of mine in England who's creating this clones of people. And as long as we put in the right idea, so the basic of me that AI can help me with, talking my voice, my languaging, and everything.
wow, that's amazing. I would love to understand more about it offline with you. Um, Dr. Suresh, let's get to understand the metaphysical world of, our human lives that we live in. There are so many mysteries around it. Uh, so why don't we just start with the basics and help our listeners understand what do we mean by the metaphysical practices out there?
The word metaphysics is a science of spirituality. Now, why metaphysics was created? There are many sciences that can't be explained in the human understanding. So we use spirituality to explain it. So, like how a lot of the Indian scriptures explains so many great ideals, like why things happen on a certain way, why the planets turn in a certain way, why there are what we call the different periods of life where you have the Sada Satavari and all those difficult, challenging periods. So you need something more advanced than just science. So metaphysics was created, the science of spirituality. So explaining everything with spirituality. So in that, numerology falls in, astrology falls under that category, even Vastusastra falls into the feng shui. All this comes under the metaphysics, area. And gradually, the subject is getting more interesting because people realize that once you understand it this way, and their life improves, because then you can put these things in the context, in the right context. Because if you're going to leave everything on science to explain to us, then we are left freed from a period, or this knowledge that doesn't make sense to us. Like why humans were born. How would you explain that? Why am I here? I can't have come to be born, go through a up and down life and die, and that's it. We are here to do more. And according to myself and my understanding, we are here to know God. And, and not to know about God, but to experience God. And then being one on one with Him for her. Because I believe God can also have a feminine version. And how we create this relationship and how we learn from this period of our life. Why do some people die at a young age? Because they have come to that conclusion or learned whatever they need to learn from this current life. I know it's cruel that somebody dies at 30 or 15, or some kids that are born only for a couple of days and they pass away. And, how do you explain that? Why is somebody born only for 2, 3 days or couple of hours even? Like a child is born and then suddenly he passes away. And sometimes it's not for the child to learn, it's more for the parents to learn of loss and how they're going to handle this throughout their lives. I know the world is cruel sometimes, but then, life is supposed to be all about learning. And sometimes learning can be difficult. Only then we are willing to take action, serious action. Like
Yep.
you must have gone through this period of challenges. Why you decided that you want to work on yourself? Nobody does this on the first day they land on this planet. uh,
Agree.
they do it when they have seen some adversity, some difficulty, some challenges that has pushed them down to find the solution or the answer to why things are happening to them. It took me many years to figure this out, but I am doing what I'm doing right now because of that, because I was pushed to a level which I could not even see up until I could find that answer to lift me up. And this is how life is all about. And that's why metaphysics is coming to about. It explains a lot of things, a lot of doubts, you know, like why things happen to me in a certain way, why certain days are better for me and certain numbers that don't work for me. Why being in the northeast corner of the house is better for me, because when I'm sitting there, my thoughts are more pure and I'm going on a spiritual path. Or if I sit in the wrong corner, on the south corner, then my things like I feel dreaded and I feel negative. So all these things have answers out for us. It's just learning and accepting it.
Understood. Understood. I totally agree. And we had a podcast episode with one of the Akashic readers, and the same thing she explained that every soul has its his or her own journey out there. A child being might be born for just 2 hours or 2 days. It's that soul's journey, the learning, as you mentioned, that soul needs to go through that learning, and as soon as that learning is completed, they tend to move on to that next journey they want to take forward. So that's where she explained through the journey of a soul, and you explained it in the terms of metaphysical world. But before we move forward, there's also a lot of things happening around occult healing. A lot of, YouTube is filled with black magic talks. We keep hearing, specifically in the Hindu mythology, that किसी ने काला जादू कर दिया है, and all those things happen. As far as I understand, whatever research I've been able to do, it's more about blocking your energy channels or blocking your energy chakras. But how can one, is it even true? Okay, that's the very first question I would like to ask.
This has multiple answers to it as well. I believe black magic is done on ourselves. When we see the world in a negative form, we allow that energy to press us down. Like even depression, burnout is indirectly a kala jadoo. Have you seen somebody in depression?
Yeah.
And you can understand how difficult it is for them. Like they love darkness, they don't like seeing light. I have gone through it myself. So in a way, I put myself in that kala jadoo period. And then, how do we come out of that? Again, we have to come to that understanding that I myself is the problem. How can I solve this problem? I know some people go very dark in the sense is they allow this energy to be so focused that pushes us into one corner. Now, through family, through the right spiritual healing, we can come out of this period. And yes, there are sometimes some places which comes with a lot of negative energy. So sometimes what happens that negative energy sucks us in and takes us through this journey again. And again, I said earlier, it's how we can deal with it. Some people are too vulnerable and weak because their immunity is low. And that causes them more harm than people who are stronger and healthier. We all deal with difficult energies around us. Like sometimes when you go to a place where you feel more cooler, then suddenly in a house, if you're in the right corner, you feel warmer. because there are places in the house that are also going through that cooler and hotter energies. So that is one thing. So sometimes if you've gone to a place which had a lot of negative energy, where many people have died in a space, you will understand that there's that energy there, because there are a lot of souls which have what we call uncompleted business there. And they are looking for people to heal and show them the right path. But see, again, you need to be in that kind of intuitive energy. Not every human being can go into that space and say, "Here, I show you the light." So you need some greater forces to help there. But that's why whenever you feel someplace that doesn't feel right, it's best to come out of that space and say thank you, but I'm not strong enough to help you. That kind of thing. And the best thing is, if you feel that, go look for nature and ground yourself. So go hug a tree. That's what I believe. Trees have a great absorption. So what happens is grounded. So let go of that energy as soon as possible. Not everybody is meant to be a healer until they are healed themselves.
I believe charity begins at home is something where the origin of this proverb came in.
I
Um,
believe in a Maslow hierarchy of needs. Suffice your needs until you come to the top, where it is finally where you can help somebody.
Agree totally. First we need to heal ourselves and help ourselves, and then only we will be able to enable others. Once we have trotted the unknown path, that's where we can guide somebody and show the direction.
I'm sharing from my own experience. I'm not a guru. There are many gurus who have been here multiple times, who have been only to be our gurus. And that's what I would suggest you to do, is seek the guru you can connect with, who you will feel that networking with. Like, this is my guru because I've seen him before, and for sure he's going to hold my hand and take me on the path. And that's what everybody should be doing. And but again, it is at each individual's age maturity, I call it. Not everybody is meant to have a guru in this current lifetime, because maybe it's not needed. But as we, seek deeper meaning in life and ask these questions where only a guru can answer us, that's when we should seek a guru.
We are going to dive deep into numerology, and something before we started the recording, number trivia that I got to know was I'm as the same age as the number of years you're married.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yep. So, with that, I would like to, understand the magic of numbers and why numerology plays a really important role in the lives of a lot of people who believe in it.
Recently, what has happened, every movie star, every movie is calculated on numerology. You'll see all these funny spellings in the past. Maybe let's go back to the Raj Kumar era, or Raj Kapoor era. The movies had no numerology. Actor names were as spelled. But now
Yep.
look at Amitabh Bachchan's spelling. Look at Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan. All their names have spelled. Saif Ali Khan. All have been revised because they saw some difficult, challenging periods throughout their industry. Then they went to some famous numerologists who aligned their names. Now, all movie names are fixed according to the producer, director, and the main uh, actor's names. So it should be in harmony for it to be a successful movie. But even after doing some of those things, sometimes the release date is a problem. Or sometimes somehow one actor was going through a challenging period, where even though he could have done the best job possible, the movie will not be a great success. But again, after seeing all these different affluent people doing numerology now, this science has become common, not only in India, but even in the West. And there are two forms of numerology out there. There's the Pythagorean system and the Chaldean system. I like to use the Chaldean system because I find that to be more accurate, and it comes to a easier solution, and it's easy to alter if possible. By changing certain alphabets in our names, we can really do transformative work for people. I've seen results in 2 weeks' time in some cases. Again, learning to change their name also matters. Like, okay, now this is the new name, but started on a perfect numerological value, boosts that energy. And then what happens also, I like to do is improving Vastu at the same time. So you get two bonuses at the same. So you have
Wow.
your name fixed and your Vastu fixed. Then you boost it on that level. and the results are like times two or times four.
But Dr. Suresh, now this brings me to my next question to understand. In most of the Hindu homes, there is a very specific and very, grand baby naming ceremony that happens, where a priest is called in and they do all the havans and everything, and then basis the scripture, they suggest a particular alphabet from which the name of the baby should start. Now, if numerology is there, why isn't numerology implemented at the that very time instead of bringing it 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years later? The baby could have benefited in all those years as well with the science.
Definitely, if a parent is aware of numerological benefits, like for me, for my daughter, the day she was born, even though the Maharaj came with the letter N, I took that and then I played with the most perfect harmonious name for her according to her birth number. And our last name cannot be changed because the last name is fixed. So the only name I could really play with was her name and how to spell it in the way that it will be a perfect harmony for throughout her life. And she was born on 18, which is a 9, which is a stubborn number. So you have to work to calm that stubbornness away, in that sense. And then getting that value to a perfect harmonious, like a number 6. So adding the two names together, the last name and the first name. Now, generally, I dislike middle names, but in India, it's a common thing to add our father's name in the middle. I removed my father's name. So none of my family members actually have a middle name. They are known by their name and our last name. I think that's enough. They are who they are. They don't have to, have a middle name to prove this is the daughter or the son of so and so person. Uh, See, how many people actually use their middle names in their daily lives? Okay, it's in your passport, it's in your legal document, but that's all it is.
Yeah.
So I prefer to tell people remove the middle name. Let's not work with that because otherwise, every time I have to always calculate that value in the final number. And what happens is you're not even going to use it. So why should we include it there? Let's make it simple. Your first name, last name, let's work that. And sometimes, in most cases, the last name comes to a good harmonious value. I'll keep it. Only thing we play with is the actual first name because first names are more important because people call you by that every day.
Yeah.
And if possible, pronunciation should not change, only spelling should change. Because suddenly, from if I told you Pulkit doesn't work for you, can we call it Pul? Okay, maybe your friends call you Pul, but your parents might not call you Pul. And again, nicknames are important too. Like, how are you commonly known? Even though your formal name is Pulkit, you might tell me, no, Pulkit is just for my passport and my legal documents. They call me puppy, because they find me cute. Now, what I'm going to do by that? Fine. If that's what you're going to use, call yourself puppy, Pulkit, your last name. Then we work on that. So at least, but as puppy as individual and Pulkit as individual, are they giving you add-on harmony or they're taking away from your actual name? So these things also matter. Like, most people knew me as Sam before, but Sam's value was coming to a 4, which is a negative number. It means death in the most cases in a Chinese calendar because I was born and raised in Hong Kong. So I don't want to be living in that death period always. So I say, no, by my legal name, which my parents had named me was Suresh, but I never used it till I was 18 because then only I realized that, Sam is coming to a negative name and somehow was not giving me the support that I needed to boost my income, my success, and all that.
Understood. I've heard a lot of stories out there where just by changing the name of a child, the child's behavior drastically just changed overnight. What's the science behind this? I don't remember the exact names now, what was the initial and the later name that it was changed to. But yes, I heard this story through one of another numerologist I was talking to. What's the actual science? How does it really differentiate? Like if somebody's calling me Pulkit or puppy, how is it gonna differentiate except the love that it, endows?
What happens is when we create a harmony for our name with the day we are born, then things, our stars change. So in a way, like changing astrology, like, there are good periods and bad period in astrology. In
Yep.
numerology, there's no bad or good. It's just when your numbers are not aligned, then you are going through a period which is not maximized to benefit of yourself. So, like how you said about this child, if the name was changed a little, deviated to harmonize with the birth number. Like as I told you earlier, my daughter was born on a 9. I did not want to keep her name to be on a 9 value. What I would prefer to keep it on a 6 value. 6 is more harmonious. So even though she's born on a stubborn date, how do I create a number which is more on harmony? So what happens is, at least when she's around people, she'll not say my way or the highway. She will be more acceptable, and willing to listen to the points before making a final decision. So that's exactly what probably the last numerologist did for this child. Is maybe the child was, somehow crying a lot, or there were things that was bothering it. By changing those stars, so in a way, numbers are stars as well, like what astrology talks about. And if we can align these digits in the right way to create a boost for that person, then those things will change to improve that more. Now, again, this is metaphysics, the science of spirituality. Numerology has been going on for many years. Since the 1800s, they've been working on numerology. And you can take any person, let's say a Maharaja from the past, and if you added their name, you could realize that this person must have struggled, must have felt depressed, and killed themselves. Like even those things you can realize just by not knowing the story of that particular Maharaj itself. Because in those days, unless they did their numerology, they were just accepting their fate. Of course, they would tell you where this pendant, where this things do, like the astrologists do. But that is not always the solution. That is just like taking a pill and trying to hope it works. But when we fix our numerology to the fullest harmony, you don't need to add anything else to yourself. You don't have to wear a certain pendant or a stone, or do the namas, on a certain day just to calm that sense down. It works. And whoever I've helped with has seen benefit. Nobody has come and said, "Oh, it doesn't work for me." I say, why is it not working for you? Is you're not following through with it. We do have other things we ask people to do after their numerology stage. They're like saying to the universe that this is my new name, this is who I am, and my stars will now be aligned to this new name. And also signing that name in a certain way. How you sign your name also matters. Like a lot of people just make cartoon characters, but to get the full energy of your name, you should sign it as visible and as eligible for people to read. Of course, not making it so easy for people to copy, but it should be there. So you're pushing this energy to the universe. This is me. Whenever I sign my name, my whole name, Suresh, shows up. And that boosts to the universe. This is me. Now help me with whatever I want from the universe.
But how can, any individual really understand which numbers work for them or which numbers are really significant in their lives? How can they reach that conclusion?
Books out there that they could do self-reading. But there are great masters out there in India right now who can help you with this quite easily. It's just willing to accept that if I have to change, will I be able to change my name? And you know, everything is a trial and error for most people. If you don't try, how do you know the benefits?
Yeah.
Like when you go to a temple to pray, God help me, you're going there for trial. But you know how people are in India? They'll go to one temple today and dinner work. They'll go to the next temple. They'll find out, oh no, the temple in Chennai is better than the one in Bombay. Or no, no, the Bombay one is the best because the one in Chennai did not do the right prayer. That's how it is. So, if you are willing to change temples to meet God, working on our numbers is just the beginning part of our life. And if your life is going perfectly fine, then don't change your numbers. But if things are challenging, difficult, like how we would do Vastu of a home, it's the same thing because things are not working in harmony. Like people get sick very easily, or there are family members who sleep in a certain corner who get hurt easily. That Vastu, by changing and keeping things in a certain way, we could change it. Like another thing that Vastu hates is cracks in the walls because every corner is related to a family member. Like if you are a joint family, you have maybe brothers or sisters, or you have parents staying in certain corners of the house, and their health will be affected by that. Like having a fountain in the wrong side of the house could cause harm to family members. I've seen this firsthand. Or like having a storeroom in the wrong corner of the house can also clutter our minds with negative thoughts. So decluttering also is important. Like having tulsi in the right place of the home can change
Yeah,
our thinking. So all these things are real. And those who practice it have seen benefits. That's why they are so profound believers. This works for me. And those who don't believe, I can't change their thoughts. Only until they need this done, then only we can do it for you. You can't force somebody, no, numerology works, no, Vastu works. Unless they need it, then only they should look into it.
one of the recent incidents with one of the acquaintances I know through a networking, community. Uh, she shared her experience with the whole community out there because one of the community members, who is a Vastu expert, helped her out. Her husband was suffering through some ailments, and just out of curiosity, she, invited him over to check the Vastu of the house. Just a very simple change. He asked the husband to sleep in a different room altogether. And drastically, in just 2 days, the husband started feeling better and the health started improving. So that's where even I started, believing in Vastu, because earlier for me it was all hearsay. I never saw somebody really experiencing the benefits in a very close circle. But yeah, from that day onwards, I've also started believing in Vastu. And I keep looking for wherever different, tips I can get around Vastu and try to implement them in my life.
Very simple solutions out there too. But see, again, when you are buying or building a new home, it's always best to consult a Vastu consultant who will align the home for you. So at least you start in the right foundation. Especially in India, what's a nice joy is most people get a plot of land and they build on top, unless you are in an apartment. Now, before buying an apartment, you can also do some pre-test checks, like why are some homes sold cheaply in a building? Because they are facing the southwest or
Yeah.
south corner. And now, of course, non-believer, you say, I want a cheaper home, they will buy it. But then when they are trying to sell it, they'll struggle there. Most people will never buy a second-hand south house unless they sell it even at a below cost. And I've seen this happen with many people. Now try finding a north to northeast house at a discount. Nobody will sell you that.
Yeah.
Somehow there will be always a top dollar premium, maybe 15, 20, 30% more than a normal price point now. And why would that person want to leave unless they're upgrading to the next bigger, better house?
But tell me one thing, and if I remember this fact correctly, a south-facing house always gets more sunlight during the day. Then why is having a south-facing home sort of taken into a negative connotation? And you also just mentioned that it's always available at a cheaper price. So why is so?
According to Vastu, south is not good. But according to Feng Shui, it's a good place to be. Now, it's again, how do you want to live your life? Now, with the Chinese belief, they believe that you should sit on the head of the dragon. We believe to sit on the tail of the dragon. We want to be pulled as far as we can go. Because at the head, you only see the front, but then you are never pulled. Like if you go on a roller coaster, haven't you realized at the back you get that extra lift, when you're going up and down, because you feel that extra pull. That's how it is. Now, it's not that south is a bad place to be, but if you can get north, northeast, or north, that's an ideal location. Even in a south facing home, if you do the remedies correctly, there's a chance that things will work in harmony. I'm not saying you are stuck now, that's it, you have the end period going on. Even in southwest homes, if their remedies correctly done, most persons or people will benefit. And what will happen, the next home they do move to will be in a better facing direction. So they might get upgraded to a west direction, or they might get upgraded to a north direction. I see that because it happened to me. Our first home was facing south. Then we got upgraded to a southwest home. Then the next third home was west. Because I have done this calculation, I've gone back and I've seen. So currently, I'm living in a north-facing home, but I plan to move in a couple of months to a northeast home. We have found a new home that's going to be facing northeast. Now, northeast has a very powerful thing because it is the corner which is the most spiritual side to it. So, besides only being a place of success, it will bring me closer to that spiritual energy. So it's not for everyone. If you have not advanced in your spiritual, to get into a northeast house might not be the perfect place to be. So it might, like as I said earlier, it might be better to be in a west facing home or a north facing home, which brings more success. It's progress in uh, monetary gains, work wise gains. So again, it all depends on the level of your needs, and being in that will work in your harmony. And we are placed in the right home at the right time. Don't worry about it. As long as we know we are willing to take some basic remedies, we will advance to the next.
Understood. Can you share some quick tips, which our listeners can implement in their lives? Uh, for some of the usual questions that a lot of people might have asked you. So, what are the remedies that you can suggest?
First thing is declutter your entrance. Most people have too much stuff at the entrance. Haven't you seen at homes where they have dumped their shoes, they have dumped whatever stuff they don't need in the house that's outside? It's very common in India. I've seen that happen. Where people just use their outside space as their, like their bicycles and all that. Those are not the place for those things, you know. And now, depending again, adding green plants in the right corner makes the changes that you desire. Now, southeast corner is the best place for green plants. And money plant is not actually a plant for money, okay? Buy things that grow tall. So like Tulsi leaves also grow tall. If you see, they keep
Yeah.
growing upward. So buy any plant that grows. Like there is this other thing, you know, the fortune plant that a lot of people have now in India. That's a good thing to have. But if you keep it in the southeast corner, don't keep it in water. It should be in soil.
Okay.
Okay. That's something you should look at. And avoid mirrors facing directly to your bed. A lot of people have a closet right in front of their beds because in India, homes are small again. So the tendency is putting a mirror to make the room big. But so that mirror has to be planted in the right place. If it's planted in the wrong place, then what happens is you're staring at your own feet. That you don't want to. And
Amazing.
then again, if you're working from home like you are, you said, some days, make sure you sit in the north corner and face the east or northeast corner.
Okay. Okay.
That
Yeah.
will boost your productivity. I show you, like days you feel like those or days or what's going on because you are facing the wrong space. And that matters.
Coincidentally, I am facing the east direction right now while
Yeah. So
talking to you.
then you are in the best place possible.
Amazing. Because, I've heard like not these days, offices have become a lot bigger. And instead of having cubicles like we used to have earlier, our own cabins, it's now more about having open floor system where you have two employees facing each other, either with a separation or something in that sort, or we have open cubicles coming in.
Mhm.
So, what sort of Vastu remedies would you suggest for that?
Whatever offices I work with, I suggest to them make sure the employees are facing north, east, or northeast. So these three directions. Never face them to south because then their productivity will be surely lower. Because then again, as you said earlier, they're staring at the sun. So when you stare at the sun, your desktop or your laptop or whatever will have a glare. You can't see into the screen and you feel tired easily. So the whole idea is to make sure they are doing these three things. So even if their desks are facing, opposite each other, try to make sure that they have this north, northeast, or north direction, or make them all facing one direction. So don't do these back and back desks, but do these desks that are all facing one way.
No, Nani, does ghost really exist out there?
I hope not. The truth is that because see again, like according to my guru, I've asked this question to them. They say only those who need to see a ghost will see a ghost. Those who don't need to see a ghost, they will never see a ghost. Because again, it is within us the desire to attract this negative force into our lives. And not all ghosts are bad energies. as I spoke earlier, some of these ghosts might have a message for you to tell you not to do certain things that they did that caused them that harm. And
Understood.
again, like all these beautiful movies that have been made in the last 100 years, in India, some of them are very haunted and scary, but you will realize there's a message always at the end of the movie. Like, why is that ghost a ghost? Because there's unfinished business.
Yeah.
And they are unable to pass on to the light, which will allow them to be one with the creator.
Yeah.
So again, if there is ghost influence in your life, find out why that ghost is affecting. Is there something unfinished between you and them? Or sometimes even from your past life that might have brought them back to you,
But
and
how
yeah,
can somebody really understand that? Because I have heard friends saying that they often feel a presence, but they're not able to see anything. They might be living in a PG or something, and they feel a presence while they're sleeping that somebody is watching them. But when they wake up, there's nobody.
yeah, and that might be true because that house comes with that person who might have had some struggles in that house in the past. So look back in the history, and like if it's a PG, then obviously it's shared by many people, and ask around, are the others also feeling the same energy? And if it is, it might be good to consult a professional to come in, uh, subside that energy or talk to that energy and find out why it is there. I'm not a specialist in that field, so I really can't help these people, but definitely there are people out there who are in this field and they will be able to speak to this energy.
How do numbers and space synergize to create a quantum transformation in one's life? If you can help us
Like I
understand.
spoke earlier, like how to incorporate Vastu and our numerology together. Now, again, Vastu also looks at spaces. Now, all space actually comes with a number. So even let's say if Vastu wise we're looking at north, there's a number to it. East, there's a number to it. West, there's a number to it. Now, how do we also like look at the unit of the home? So it might have an alphabet and a number. So again, it comes back to numerology. So the Vastu starts from the unit number, and then we look inwards and see how the direction is. Uh, is the master bedroom in the southwest corner? Will our temple space be in the northeast corner? Like all these spaces again have an alignment to bring harmony to our numerology. Why I like to look at both things? Because I want to give this person a permanent boost. So where they don't have to fix this again in their lives unless they move the home. Because again, then we have to reharmonize that home to their
Yeah.
number. Because numerology is a final number. But what happens is every business we start, every new space we use, or every time we buy some certain things, it's always good to buy it on a certain date, on a certain number that is in harmony with it. So only then to check. But once your numerology is done correctly, you don't really have to change unless your Vastu is not in harmony with you, or you suddenly get married again. So then again, we have to look at, is that person you're marrying, their number align with yours? So like like how the Maharaj say there's a grass. So your name and their name has to be in harmony. But
Yeah.
I also look at their name in total, if that is in harmony with you. Now suddenly you are a number 6 person, but you marry somebody whose life number becomes a 4. Now, again, that will not bring you the positive benefits for each other. And you'll tend to fight more often or get into arguments. And every marriage is all about giving and taking, but you can't be only a giver. So always we look at these things. So many people come to me when they are choosing their wife's names to be like, what would be a perfect name? So the Maharaj will say, okay, the best Rahu is S should have an L. So then we look at the names they would like to use for L, like because in most cases in our Hindu following is we like to change our wife's name to bring in more add value to the husband, not the other way around. Because if wife is taking more from the husband, then the husband is always the underdog in the equation. But I'm not saying it's a bad thing or good thing here, but I'm just saying in most cases, man wants to be on the plus sign here. So we look at these things and then we create a number. And again, choosing the best number. So like Maharaj will say, okay, the best marriage date is 23 and so time. But people come to me and say, is this really the best for me as a numerological? So I say, yes. Now show me 5 numbers, 5 dates, and we will choose one. Because Maharaj will never give you one date. He will give you a period of number dates, like according this time. And I say, okay, now let's look at this. We take the husband and wife's number. I also even like to look at the parents' numbers if they are around. Like, can this be a harmonious wedding where both the parents from both sides, or if they are if they are single parent or whatever, will bring in a positive energy to this marriage? Because whatever starts will continue. Like if you are marrying by force, against the will of the parents, then we have to find out how can we make this union so strong that even these parents who are against us will eventually realize that we got married for love. So
Wow.
don't worry, whenever you are getting married, whenever that happens, send me the numbers. I will do numerology for you for free.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate. You know, there's so much to learn and there's so much to understand about numerology. Um, Two final questions I would like to ask Dr. Suresh from you is, and coming a little around the costing aspect of numerology of Vastu people out there, the experts specifically. Now, we have a lot of people who actually don't know the art and who have not been blessed with this knowledge to, spread with others. One, how do we really understand the person we are consulting is, does that person really understand the science of numerology and Vastu? And the second part to this question is, while this is a life-changing, decision and modality coming out, how is this really looking at from a cost perspective? Because mostly wherever I have gone and I have, seen people, they are charging some really big amounts. So for many people, it becomes unaffordable. They're not able to afford these things. So can you help us understand these two parts?
There are multiple people out there, some charging as little as 2,000 rupees, some charging 200,000 rupees to help you with a name, or even more. I have met people who are charging 20,000 US per session.
Yeah.
And they say they are the best because their reference come through. Shah Rukh Khan went there, Amir Khan is there. See, but they have built that up. The same person might be charging 2,000 20 years ago when he started this work. But now, as he's built up his name, and time is money, and the more people follow me, I have to charge more because according to that, I'm trying to satisfy the person who's following me as well. So he should see if I'm giving that kind of value. It doesn't mean a 2,000 numerologist is not doing his job. Again, go to somebody that you can afford, but go to somebody who's referred to you, somebody who has benefited the person prior. Because don't go to a random person because you saw some newspaper ad or a magazine ad, or I'm the best numerologist, I want so many awards. It doesn't really matter. And what you need to do is simplify your name. Don't go for a complex report. Start with just your name. Okay. That generally would not cost you more than 2,000-3,000 rupees in India as of today, because I know quite a few people are working that kind of budget, because that doesn't take a lot of time or effort. That's why they can offer you that. Now, if you want to do more complex things, which requires more time and it requires more consultation with you, because they need to realize the kind of challenges you are going through and the kind of improvements you want to do, and then creating that harmony. And it's not usually only the person that is doing the numerology. We also look at family members, because your relationship with them is causing harm to you or benefiting. That is more important too. So I generally like to group everything. But of course, the only person who will be sitting with me will be you. But we are looking in your family members, and you don't even have to share this information with them. It's just making sure that they are in harmony. Again, sometimes what happens, like when I was starting out, so somebody who taught me, he said, placing the photo of the person who you dislike the most in the right corner of the house can actually change that person from disliking you to liking you. And I'm not going to tell you where that place is supposed to be, because that is a crucial element of how Vastu can change. your whole being in that home or that space. So even like, let's say you have colleagues in your office that have prejudice against you. If you put their photo in a certain location in the office, that energy can change.
Well,
So, but again, this is something that comes with gradual progress into knowledge. And that's why these people charge you more money because, again, time is value. So if you think, hey, I can't afford 50, 100,000, start with something simple, build it up. If it helps, you will always seek the next master. You don't have to seek the master of these famous people now. Some masters only work with certain people because they feel they understand them best. And I know people who have a numerologist on call 24/7. Anything is going on in their life, they'll ask them, is this a good time? Is this a good day? Should I sign this document now or not? And that's the kind of people that charge you the 2 crores, 20 crores, and mad amounts that I've heard out. So, don't worry about who. Go to somebody with reference who has helped people. You'll be fine. This is not a hidden science. It's a science that with experience that evolves and improves. So go to a master who's been doing this for 10, 12, 15 years. If he has survived through that many years, then for sure he's not bad. He has benefit people. Otherwise, by now he'll be shut.
understood. Understood.
And
Dr.
not all masters work for money because some masters are there to really serve the community. So, finding the right balance will work for sure.
Before we conclude, can you share any life-changing moments that you've witnessed through your practice of Vastu or numerology in your, life so far?
I'll share my own personal experience when I changed my number. Of course, it didn't happen overnight. I Before I changed my number, I was in depression. I was going through the most challenging period, where whatever thing I used to start in 6 months to 1 year used to go up and then fall down again. And this went on 7 times with me. Then after that, I changed not only my name, I changed my wife's name, I changed my children's name. As I said earlier, I like to work as a family. So all the members started to boost the energy in that home at the highest level. So everybody saw success. And when you see success, you become successful. And that's why I'm so passionate about numbers. And I have practiced and experienced this with anybody and random people. And this is how I start my conversation. Like I'll get on a flight. It's a 12-hour flight. I'll randomly talk to one of the stewardess. I'll tell her, what's your number? Then I start telling her things. And she cannot believe how detailed I am explaining her problem. Then she'll call a friend. Hey, I want you to meet somebody. And this 12-hour flight becomes like an hour of, I had one time a pilot coming out to wanting to know. I said, who's flying the plane? He said, don't worry, there's another pilot. And I told him, I'm just going to the toilet. So you're safe. So these kind of things, are very powerful as long as you are a firm believer that, yes, I'm willing to listen and I know I'm going through a period of difficulty and how can I solve this? This is not rocket science, it's science of spirituality. The rocket science requires it to be explained and then only people who believe, then will follow it. And I don't suggest this to everyone. Unless you are in dire need, seek it out.
Amazing. I have one more question, Dr. Suresh, to understand. I've often heard that different number types when we talk about numerology, there is a birth number, there's a personality number. I don't remember all the types, but can you elaborate on it and help us understand which number type relates to what and what is its significance?
I love to start with the birth numbers because that creates a life path. And from the life path, we can realize how your current life is going. So, like for you, okay, because I was playing around earlier. So, according to you are born on the 30th of May, 1993. I hope the audience doesn't mind knowing your real age. So, your current life path is coming to a 3 because your birth number is 3. And then, what a number 3 is. A number 3 person is a very creative person. He loves speaking. He is somebody with self-expression, very optimistic, and also charismatic. And you are gifted to inspire others. That's why you're doing what you're doing. Means you are doing this podcast because you feel you have something to share with people, and you can excel in any field that requires creativity. So focus on that, and you will see how suddenly you will grow. And you are a great storyteller. So keep sharing your own story. When we share our own vulnerabilities, that is the hook that people want to learn from. Just saying I'm the greatest person in life proves nothing. Then I looked at your expression number. Now, your expression number comes to a six. Now, what is that? That's the combination of all your name numbers. So, what does the number six come with? It's somebody who's responsible, who looks for harmony, is somebody who's family oriented. So, you are a great marriage material. I'm sure your parents will find you a beautiful bride soon. And you desire a peaceful and loving environment. So you hate when space is like distrusted or is not in harmony. You run away from that because you are a person who's passionate, who's seeking true love in life. Now your personality number is seven. And what is a personality? You are looking for something deeper than most people understand. You are intellectual, but yet you are seeking deeper meaning from that intellectual. You want meaningful conversations. You dislike people who are shallow, who talk about things that don't mean anything. It's just so simple, but why are we talking about? And that's why you have only very few or very pure friends in your surrounding. And you don't have to say yes or no to me, but already from your face, I can see yes, that's now. Only thing I'm not very happy right now is your soul search number. That's coming to an eight. Yes, it will bring you power and success, but there are things that will require you to see some difficult periods of life. Uh, so I would suggest that for you to continue in giving to humanity, and once we feel there is more meaning in our life, then that subsides. It will feel calmer, so you will not feel lost. And challenges in your life I'd like to share with you. Make sure you are disciplined. If you're not disciplined, what will happen? Your creative ideas become uncreative ideas. Your ambition has to be balanced in the right way. You know,
Mhm.
don't only expect to take, but also plan to give back. Because if you give, the more opportunities you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for sharing, these details, and I really appreciate you reading my chat out here. And Dr. Suresh, just one final question because of the chat reading that you shared. Now, there would be a lot of other people out there who would have their birth number as three and might have similar combination of other numbers as well. How does my life differentiates from theirs? Then shouldn't the lives of two individuals with similar numbers be nearly the same?
Again, what happens is, even though you are born on a tree, let's say you were born on the same year, same day, but the timing might be different. Now, again, our past karmas affect our current karma. So, there's more to it than even, let's say there were two babies born on the same time, same day to the same mother. They will also have different charts because their
Yeah.
needs are different. They have come for different purposes. Even though they came through the same conduit, it'll be different. So, even though you meet somebody who was born at the same time as you, in the same city as you, in the same hospital as you, I assure you their life is different than you.
Yeah.
There are no two people alike, even they might look alike.
Agreed, agreed. Totally agreed on that. Any final thoughts for our listeners that you would like to share with them?
Curious to learn, but make sure be a believer before you start implementing. Because if you don't believe in this, even though you take the action, it will not happen. Because we have to manifest back to the universe that I am now a believer. This will help me. It will change my life. If not, then why are we doing it? Don't do it because you're pressured into it. Doing it because you believe it will change you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Dr. Devnani. It's been enlightening learning about the profound effects of numbers and space on our lives. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And listeners, for those of you inspired to explore further, or seeking guidance on your journey, remember the door to transformation is just a step away. Feel free to share your thoughts, worries, or stress triggers on our anonymous mental health platform, the link to which you will find in our episode description. Dr. Devnani, thank you for sharing your wisdom and insights with us
Thank
today.
you. Thank you. It's been a
And
great pleasure sharing with your audience. Thank you.
same here, doctor. And listeners, we will be sharing Dr. Suresh's details in our description below. So if you'd like to get in touch with him, please feel free to reach out to him. I hope that's okay.
I'm always happy to receive inquiries. Thank you.